This is Estia TV and I'm Ezekias Trivoulides. Today, our subject is Europe, the true history and origins of Europeans. From Ihor of year 2000, Ihor number 2, an article by Apostolos Gonidellis. Europe, the well-known daughter of Oceanus, whose name has been widely conferred since primordial time, has given rise to a multitude of stories about her life and questions as to her descendants. According to Hesiod, she was the daughter of Oceanus and Tethys. The oldest literary source mentioning her is Homer, Iliad, Rhapsody O, V 321-3, where Zeus lists his beloved woman to Hera. From Homer's verses, we learn that she was Phoenix's daughter and Zeus had two sons with her, Minos and Rhadamanthys. The history outline of the myth and descendants of Europe would read: Epaphus, son of Zeus, and Eos wedded Memphis, Nile's daughter, and begot Libya. Libya in turn gave birth to Poseidon. Agenor and Belos. Agenor left Egypt and went to Asia, where together with other Hellenes under his command created his own kingdom, with Tyros or Sidon as capital city. Then he married Telephassa, and they had a daughter, Europe or Europa, and three sons, Cadmos, Phoenix, and Cilix. We see here that Agenor is Europe's father and Phoenix her brother. Europe was exceedingly beautiful, and Zeus soon fell in love with her. It was said that Hecate had given her a beauty ointment she had stolen from Hera, making her irresistible. Once, while she was playing with her friends at the coast of Tyros or Sidon, picking wild flowers, Zeus transformed into a magnificent white bull, grazing nearby in order to evade Hera's attention and trick Europe. The animal strangely enchanted Europe, and when she overcame her hesitance and rode his back, he rose and ran towards the sea. Frightened Europe grabbed the bull's horns and cried vainly for help. The bull, Zeus, passing over the sea waves, reached Crete, and near a spring in Gortina, he made love to the exquisite virgin. From Zeus' union with Europe, as we saw above, three sons were born: Minos, whose name remains in history as a wise legislator and king; Rhadamanthys, who reigned the island Macari; and Sarpedon, who was the king of Lycia, where is Asia Minor. To every son, Zeus gave a present: Talos, a bronze giant who circled Crete 3 times a day, protecting the island; and Lelaps, a dog who always caught his prey, and according to tradition, he guarded Zeus' goats when he was still young. The dog was Hephaestus' creation, and later Europe gave it to Minos. Finally, Zeus gave her a pendant similar to the one he gave Alcmene, mother of Heracles. When Agenor realized that his daughter was missing, he sent his three sons to find her, ordering them not to return without a sister. Their mother, Telephassa, and Thasos, son of Cilix, went with them. They wandered endlessly, not managing to find her. Being afraid to return home, Phoenix settled in the region which was later named Phoenicia after him. Cilix stayed near the river Pyramos, and the region was named Cilicia. Thasos, the third son, stayed in Thasos, building the city of Thasos. Cadmos, traveling to many places, Rhodes, Thera, Thasos, etc., he settled in Thrace and lived there until Telephassa died. He buried his mother in Delphi, where he consulted the oracle as to Europe's fate. God Apollo's omen cited that he should not be concerned with his sister and that he should follow a cow. Where the cow would collapse from exhaustion, there should build a town. This is how the city of Thebes was built. Zeus did not leave Europe at a loss. He had her married with Asterion, king of Crete, views as to the exact descent of Europe and symbolism lying behind the myth. We should first of all say that there is quite a confusion with regards to her family origin. They were mentioned as Phoenicians because they lived in Phoenicia, and some regard them as Phoenicians, not Hellenes. It is similar to calling the inhabitants of Lesbos lesbians and not Hellenes. A people, however, who speak Hellenic, write Hellenic, practice Hellenic religion, and think Hellenic does not need to live in mainland Greece, as we have constrained Greece to be in the last 2,500 years. They could live anywhere on the planet. Regardless of the locality, these people belong to Hellenes. This is what happened with Agenor and his family. Hellenes inhabited at the time all places on the Mediterranean coast, from Black Sea to Egypt. From this legend of Europe, we furthermore understand the tight relations between Phoenicians and Cretans, to the extent that a sacred wedding is taking place between the chief Hellenic Cretan god and the royal virgin of Hellenes, Phoenicians. Nowhere in the ancient epic poem is Cadmos regarded as non-Hellene. Herodotus quotes him as Phoenician from the first time. In Homer and Hesiod, nothing is quoted to contradict his Hellenic origin. Furthermore, Pausanias referred to Thasians and the bronze Heracles statue that dedicated to Olympia. Further views of the myth for Europe argue as to planetary symbolism, moon abducted by the sun, expressing ancient religious beliefs. We see Europe's relations to sun deities of the early Hellenic religion before the Olympic Parthenon names were commonly used. A festivity called Elopia was held in memory of the sacred wedding of Zeus in Europe. Festivities exalting fertility and reminding earth gods and goddesses of the pro-Olympian god names. In Argos, near Messina, the tomb of Hera was initially dedicated to Europe. Hera was also known conveying the adjective or European Hera. In Hortina, Crete, Europe was honored as goddess, Zeus's former wife. Coins were cut portraying Europe sitting under the tree near the spring she coupled with Zeus. In the other side of the coin, we see the bull. Both are encircled by the sun rays, showing the sun symbols behind the divine couple. Europe was also worshipped in Knossos and Festos and all over Crete. Phoenicia was another center they worshipped Europe. Europe was later identified by Starte. Coins were also cut in Cyprus and Cilicia, presenting her riding a bull. Delos was also the island that claimed to have held the Zeus-Europe wedding ceremony. Thrace was also a place that worshipped Europe. There was also a local tradition which held that the Straits of Bosporus were so called because Zeus crossed the sea in the form of bull, Vous, bull, poros, passing of the bull. In Macedonia, in Thessaly, in Asia Minor, in Attica, in Sicyon, in the island of Kos, and other places, we meet religious practices in honor of Europe. Considering now the name Europe, for the continent of Europe, then we find that it was already known to Hesiod. He regards Europe and Asia as Oceanus' daughters. The most ancient name is found in Homer, in Homer's hymn to Apollo, where Peloponnese is regarded as separated from the rest of Greece, from Corinth to Thrace. This area was first called Europe, a name that was later given to the whole continent. The poet Pindarus also calls the land that extends up to Gadira as Europe. Euripides also calls the continent Europe. The legend of the abduction of Europe is carried to us from Herodotus and also by the historian Diodorus the Sicilian, with varying story variations. In Sicily and Tarns, there are a few remnants of picture scenes of Europe riding the bull. Ancient literary sources quote Europe in so many different places, and one has to search in religious traditions to construct the complete puzzle of Europe's picture. Europe as a royal virgin, Europe as a goddess, Europe as a continent. Deciphering legends about her family may lead to the traces of settlements of Hellenic groups all around the Mediterranean, lost in prehistoric times. Goodbye.